FM AM 1160. Bob and I are both getting hungry here this morning because we just found out it's Louis Tate's birthday. This is one case where I don't want Louis to have a cake. I want him to give me lasagna, but I don't really get an option there, do I? He's Bob Pollock, the Penn State Extension, joining us this morning. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And we're going to start out the segment, Bob, today with two questions. And a local Indiana organic gardener actually left this on a note. I found it on the desk this morning and says, I have two questions for Bob. I won't be able to call in today, so if you could ask him these, and I will. So here you go. Here's your first question. She says, I have grow bags that have green growth. The bags are dry and empty now. Do I need to scrub off the green in order to safely use the grow bags?
I would attempt to remove that. It might just be algae, as she describes that now, and it might, sometimes that'll flake off when the bags are dry and they haven't been used in a while, and
take
you've
a rag or
emptied
a
the
brush.
potting soil out of them. Yeah, just lightly. Now, those bags, grow bags can get, they can start to photodegrade after a while, so they can start to get brittle. So you may have to be a little careful with them, just to make sure you don't rip them apart, and then you have to completely start over from new.
But on the other hand, if they are that brittle, you want to know that now before they have to start growing stuff.
That's right. Yeah. You'll find that out when you try to pick them up after you fill them with potting soil.
So assuming it's just dried algae, she ought to wipe that off.
And just try to moisten it up and take that off there. Now, granted, it's not really going to hurt anything. So if it comes off, that's good. If it doesn't completely come off, you're still going to be okay to plant in that.
Okay. Ready for her second question? If manure and compost is stored, the two ingredients are in some closed bag stored for 1 year or more, does it lose its potency of the nitrogen manure component? So, stored compost, stored manure, is that nitrogen just going to float away?
It mostly will still be there, especially if it's in the bag. So the bag's going to help keep it intact. If it was exposed outside and received repeated rains and the water leached down through it, then yes, we probably would be over time lose some of the nutrient value of that. But I think in this case, everything is probably still mostly there. So, and nitrogen is one of those nutrients and elements that it has multiple pathways that it can escape from us. It can change form from liquid to gas. It can be moved through the soil profile. It can be leached out. It can volatilize, of course. So it's constantly in change. And the organisms, the bacteria, fungi, organisms that are normally in healthy soil will also use nitrogen as a food source. So it can be used that way, and then not available to the plant. But I think in this case, I think it's mostly going to be preserved and
so since it can become gas, it could escape out the top if it was not sealed. But she says it's closed.
Yeah, and two, if it's in a cool, dark place, if it's in the garage or in a shed, then the sunlight's not going to be able to get to that. It's going to be maintained at a, within a temperature range, and not, if it's out just laying outside, or if it's exposed to temperature extremes, then that can, affect that over time.
All right. Well, I hope that we have answered her questions this morning, and I think I've got another caller on the line. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
You think?
Let's find out together.
Let's find out.
Good morning.
Hey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. Bob, kind of a related question to your last one. I have some guinea pigs here at home, and they have a byproduct, as you can imagine. I want to find out whether this is good for turning back into what it used to be.
Yes, you can utilize.
They've converted lots of lettuce and carrots, and I want to know if I can use this to convert into lettuce and carrots once again.
Maybe the seeds pass through intact, and you.
I don't think that's the way.
And the
he
lettuce
means.
and carrots will just start to grow.
Yes, I don't think that's what he means at all.
I know I have to do some added part of that, but is it especially good, or is it average, or is it ineffective? How should I treat it?
Well, of course, in a lot of manures, there's not a lot of nutrients. It's all done by weight, so there's not a great amount of nutrients, but there is nutrient value to those. So just, if you only end up with a bushel of it, and you look at percentage by weight of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium that would be in there, and a few other things, you're not going to get a lot of nutrients out of that. However, there still is nutrient value there. So over time, you can compost that, and we don't want to put that on raw to any vegetable crops. We would like to compost that so that it, looks like soil, or broken down completely before we would mix that in to our soil and grow a vegetable crop. Now, you don't need to wait to utilize that. You can compost it and then put that on flower beds, perennial beds, ornamental beds, anything like that we're not going to be growing food in. But we can get some contamination. There are organisms that will affect humans that we're especially careful about when we want to grow crops that we're going to consume. So just to be on the safe side, we just want to have that composted well. Then we can utilize that as a nutrient source.
How's that?
So I've got to put some time into the process.
Yes.
That's helpful.
A little bit,
it
yeah.
Really is.
And of course, you can mix that in. Depending on the quantities you have, you can mix that in with leaves and other things that you're composting, and that'll just boost up the value of that finished compost. Down the
quantity
road.
is no problem.
Okay.
That's a lot of guinea pigs.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Well, thank you for your help. I appreciate the guidance today.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful day. All right, we're talking with Bob Pollock from the Extension Service. We're rolling through this segment here this morning.
So all those manure sources, whether it's, horse manure, cow manure, pig manure, and down the list, especially for growing food crops, from a food safety perspective, especially for human consumption, yes, there are organisms, just like there is in our feces. There's disease-causing organisms in animal feces, and so we just need to be extra cautious when we're growing food crops as to where we put those. Now, over time, those all break down. The organisms will die off, and especially through that composting process where we're usually introducing heat over time, as long as we get those temperatures up for a long enough period of time, that will kill off those disease-causing organisms, and then it makes that product safe to use. So just, time and that composting process will work. And then time is pretty important too, because if you put raw manure, let's say you use raw manure, and people have done that, we just want to try to have time between when we apply that and when we grow the crop. And so if you look in the organic regulations, so a certified organic grower would need at least 120 days between manure application and when that crop will be grown.
Okay.
So it's a guideline that can be used. There has been, in recent years, a lot of work being done on manures and how long organisms, disease-causing organisms, can live in there, trying to establish some safe parameters for use of that, because it is a valuable nutrient. There are nutrients in there that crops need to grow. The value of the organic matter, which helps with soil quality, soil health, ability of that soil to hold moisture, as well as make air spaces in there that both plant roots need in order to survive.
Well, we're turning over to the month of May now.
Yes.
So when you visit with us on Friday, it'll be May the 6th. People will really begin to get serious about their gardens here in the month of May.
You're right.
So we probably need to spend some time on that.
It looks like the weather might start to cooperate a little bit, although they're showing rain every single day. But the temperatures are going to be a little bit warmer.
They're not showing snow right now.
No, they're not.
Man, oh man.
We are really creeping into it. That's for sure.
Creeping is the word for it because it's
Creeper
happening.
gear.
It's really crawling right along. Well, we appreciate your visiting with us here this morning and answering our listeners' questions.
And it is Arbor Day.
That's right.
Plant a tree, save a tree, care properly for a tree.
Eat a tree if you need to.
Yeah, chew on some bark.
All right. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.